Hello, sim racers, and welcome to another live stream. So uh, tonight is, to be honest, tonight I don't know what we're going to do. I'm a little bit tired. I have just had dinner and some wine, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. So we have a race on March 8th of March on the Red Line Motorsport races and server. It's going to be a 3 hours with driver swaps at Bathurst. And don't ask me why, but me, Kevin, and Gergo decided to use the Aston Martin, the old one, the V12. So let me switch cameras this time. So I need to do some practice. I need to start understanding the track a little bit better, if possible. I need to start creating some kind of setup for the car. So tonight we're gonna do at least some part of this. I believe I'm gonna need at least a couple of sessions. Uh, so yeah, it's. I think this is gonna be part one. I don't know if you guys interested. While I'm, will keep practicing myself during the week for this race. So maybe I'm gonna do part two, part three, and so on. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do tonight. Tonight we're gonna walk around the circuit. This is the gorgeous car that we're going to use. I mean, aesthetically, I love this car. This car is one of the most beautiful cars ever designed. I mean, look at the lines of this car here. I mean, yes, the new one is amazing. It's beautiful, but wow, this car is so beautiful, so beautiful. It really is amazing. I really love it. Now, the issues with this beauty is that it is old and it feels old also to drive. The traction control is not so efficient, and sometimes you wish it wasn't there. Sometimes, if it wasn't there, you won't be able to make the turns. The front aero is not bad, but not really highly advanced. Uh, and practically, this thing at the rear end is not really a diffuser, not a diffuser at all. It's a jock. It's not a diffuser. So yeah, so this car doesn't have the downforce that all the other cars can create. Now, of course, it has a very big rear wing, which is also a little bit higher than usual, and that enables to get more clean air, and that means it is a little bit more efficient in creating downforce and a tiny bit less drag than usual rear wings. But it doesn't help a lot. It also has a relatively high center of gravity, which means it's a little bit harder on the tires. So what they do, they usually let it, at least on some tracks, to have a little bit more power from this glorious V12 engine. It is the last of the Mohicans, as I say, the last car that still has a big V12 engine at the front. Um, Glorious sound, amazing, but that's all the car has. So we have to see if we can create a setup and take advantage of this engine. uh, Hopefully the BOP will help us a little bit at Bathurst. But I don't know. The first thing I will try to do here tonight is uh, walk the circuit so we can find our reference points. And then I will start working a little bit on my rhythm and try to get below 2.03, 2.02, hopefully 2.01, and then we'll start and see if we can do something with the setup, try some different solutions, and so on. As I said, we will start tonight. Probably we will do some other practice session this weekend or maybe Monday, I don't know, then another one, at least 3 practice sessions so that we can get ready for the big race next weekend. Okay, so let me see the chat. Are you guys all good? Excellent. I already see many people on the chat. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, we are getting close to 4,000 subscribers. It's amazing in such a short amount of time. But most importantly, I really love to interact with you guys. I love your questions. I enjoy very much those live streams every night. It's really cool. So really, really big thanks to all of you for all the support and for uh, having the patience to go through all my very long live streams. It is something that helps me get out a bit of the everyday development rhythm. It's nice to talk to you. It's nice to resolve problems together, to reply to your questions. So I really, really like it. Thank you so much for all the support you're giving me and for being here every night I'm doing the live streams. All right, so let's go in. We will do some practice session for starters to get the reference points, to do a normal walk through the circuit. Let's see a little bit on the chat what is going on. The Brazilian community is here. Elison Chavez. Thank you so much, guys. It really means a lot to me. Really, from Brazil. Amazing. Uh, Is there, Zekai says, is there any chance of getting TCR since they are under SRO? No, I don't think so. I mean, to be honest, I don't have the slightest clue. I mean, I'm not into the licensing management. I'm heavily into the management of the developers and some user interface and the physics. Of course, this is my 90% of the time is on physics, so I don't know much about licensing stuff and deals and things like that. And I also prefer to not, go too much into this and ask guys that they work on this, because it's better to let them free to do whatever they can, and then they present it to us as a surprise and we work on it. So honestly, I don't know, and I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I doubt it, but it's a personal opinion. I have no idea, sincerely. Right, fuel HUD is not in sync with dashboard of the car. Might be some discrepancy in the rounding errors, but if it's too much, I will take a look at it. Right, the godfather of sim racing. So you told me that I am old. Thank you. Well, I'm vintage. I like to think of myself as vintage, getting vintage. Greetings from Mexico. Hi, Christian. Ciao, Marco. Third competition. So yeah, good, good, good. All right, okay. So let's go. Um, no setup. We'll just go as we are right now. We are going to find out reference points for the circuit. Long circuit. So let's see if we can do this as fast as possible. All right. Yeah, we've lost the first turn. We will see it later. Okay, let's go up the mountain straight, if I remember correctly. Ah, listen to this engine. Listen to that. Ooh, V12, baby. Right. 7,500. Oh, stop, 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 stop. Yeah, that's the problem with that engine. If you go so fast, then you can't stop the car. Okay, let me go a little bit backwards. AGU modding is just subscribed. Thank you, mate. Welcome. All right, so first, actually second breaking point. I like to break somewhere. Where's my mouse? Let me find out where my mouse is here. I don't have it enabled. So not, this is not. Sorry guys, again I forgot where the mouse is. Let me see if I can like this, pointer focus. All right, yeah, that's better. and back again. Sorry about that. Greetings from Germany and from Greece and Costa Rica. Wow. Hi there. All right. Ace Creed, just subscribe. Ace Creed 2, just subscribe. Thanks, mate. Okay, let's go back in. I did again practice. Well, good thing the Assetto Corsa Competizione loads so fast. All right, let's go back again. Okay, yeah, now you can see the mouse, I believe. Belgium. Hi, Cohen Cola. Power. All right, let's brake here. Okay, so as I said, I like to brake for this second turn somewhere after the 100 meters here, and usually I get as a very nice brake reference point this part, this piece of asphalt side road on the main straight. You can see it here, right? You can see the mouse. True. All right. So yes, I usually brake somewhere here. Now, the key with this very fast right-hander is that, as you can see, there is not much camber in here, right, at the outside of the turn, but then the road goes down on the mid inner part, on the right hand of the side of the road. So you can see the mouse. Excellent. I thought you could see it, but turns out you can't. Let's see if I can fix that. Give me a second. Maybe I can fix that like this. Okay, let me know if now it's better. I will wait a little bit for the live stream to catch up and the chat. Sorry about that. Is better? Yes, it's better. Okay, so if you can see the mouse now, I will go back again a tiny bit. My pedals are going somewhere else. I don't know where. Hope I'm not losing completely the pedals. All right. Okay. All right. So as I said, this is more or less where I like to start my braking zone for this very fast right-hander. This piece of side road asphalt here, around at this point I start my braking zone. And as I was saying, this turn is very particular. If you can see here, the outside, the left part of the road has no backing at all. So if you stay and brake here, then you will probably end up very wide. But at the right-hand part of the road, you can see there's lots of banking. The road goes practically inclined towards the turn. So what I like to do is braking, and contrary to what you should properly do, I'm starting going towards the turn much sooner, like this, because I want to be inside the banking right here, even before the apex. If you are inside the banking like here, then you can keep up much more speed than normally into this turn. If you find yourself out here, then you start sliding towards outside, and you cannot bring lots of speed into the turn. We will see about this on a fast lap right after we are finished with our circuit walk. All right, so I will try to stay as close to the inside curb as possible. Do not take the curb, because as you can see, it's a little bit I mean, it's soft, but it's a little bit on the high side, so it will unbalance your car. Just, go, just touch it. Do not take the curb. I like to take this gear usually in third gear or second gear, depending on, but it is a turn that you can bring much more speed inside than normally. And if you do everything correctly, then you will end up outside, and you will still have plenty of grip, so that you don't go completely wide outside here, but you are probably on top of this curb. All right. Okay, people still keep coming. Hello, everybody. Okay, so obviously after this turn, you move completely on the right side of the road across the other side. And if you are on a very fast lap time, around after this, or in this orange jerseys here, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know, you start going inside. It is a turn that you can't take flat out, so you can keep flat out here, and try, when you are more or less on the apex, to not have too much understeer, so you are forced, to turn a lot. You have to be with as small steering input as possible, because right after the apex, let me lower the sound a little bit of this monstrous engine, because I can't even hear my thoughts. So right after the apex, you want to straighten your steering wheel, or just keep just a tiny amount of steering angle, and brake as hard as you can for the next turn. And because this braking zone is short and a little bit, turning, it's easy to unbalance the car. So as straight as possible, hard braking, and then you need to go as close to the wall as possible. Now, this turn is a little bit particular. I don't know, because of the very big camber of the road, quite a bit of inclination. Yeah, sorry guys about my voice. I will start to talk a little bit lower, because I had the volume of the engine so high that I couldn't even hear myself. So yeah, sorry about that. I will start to talk lower, and I promise you, yes, I will get a professional microphone at some point. So, um, as I was saying, you need to get as close as possible to the goal here. Now, because of the inclination of the road and the big difference in, going uphill of this turn, uh, I found that the front end can take more rotation of your steering wheel than you would usually use. I mean, I have always advised you guys to not rotate your steering wheel too much, because you're just going over the limit of the tires, and you're losing practically grip, so you're going into understeer. But in this particular turn, once you're in, all right, and you are, let's say, at this point of the turn, okay, and you feel the car going a tiny bit wide, you feel the car is going wide, and you're like this, give it some extra steering wheel angle. Give it some extra steering wheel angle. Uh, Normally the car would add the understeer, but because of all the camber of the road and the uphill and the load that the front tires get, they can still handle a little bit of extra slip angle because of the extreme load, and you can give it a tiny bit, not too much. I mean, don't do this, of course, okay? But you are like here, you can get some extra, I don't know, 10, 15 degrees, some extra degrees, and miraculously, the front end will still stay on the line. It will not go much more in, but it will not go outside in terminal understeer. So it will stay here. You have to see the road like that. You have to have the sensation that, oh my god, I'm gonna hit the inner wall, but believe me, you won't. So if you do everything correctly, then the car will go outside at this point. At this point, you want to, turn back with the steering wheel. You want to turn back, because if you keep it like this, then you're gonna have extra understeer, or the car will snap from the rear wheel spin, and you will go into some ugly oversteery, power oversteery situation. So you need to have your wheel like that, and when you are on the exit, always be ready to give some extra fast control, because it's easy to go into some power oversteer. So you're like this, just remind yourself that you must be ready from some fast feedback in power oversteer. Okay, great. Yeah, do not touch the wall. Now this one is completely flat out, no problems, but it pays again to take care of the little details and make as wide racing line as possible and have as less steering wheel input as possible, because if you steer too much, there's no problem, the turn is easy, but because of the road, you going uphill, there is a bump, there is some camber changement, there's lots of different things going on with the road surface here. If you give it too much, then you're gonna get some wheel spin. uh, right here it will not unbalance your car. The wheel spin won't be a problem. It will not unbalance your car, but it will make your traction control engage, and this will cut your forward acceleration. So as little steering angle as possible, and keep an eye and listen that your traction control does not engage. If the traction control engages in this turn, you're doing something wrong. All right? Okay. Yeah, don't drink and drive, but it's virtual, so no problem. All right, so we are. You have to stay really, really close to this wall now. You have to go with your left wheels over the white line. So if we're gonna look at our cars from the outside, you need to be as close to the wall as possible in a situation like this. Okay? So go back in again. You have to be like that. And if you do everything correctly, and there's grip on the road, so there's lots of rubber, and your tires are pretty fresh, then you can take this turn pretty much flat out. But it's not always easy with all the cars, and it's not always easy in all conditions. So you either start turning at the tree here, so you are close or just by the tree, and you have to go in, and you can see here again we have lots of camber that goes towards the apex of the road. And you need to, once you have arrived on the correct position and you have the correct racing line, after that you need to force a little bit the car with the steering wheel to stay on the line, because otherwise it would slide gradually to the outside. And at the outside, as you can see, there's a wall. Now if you have done everything correctly, you are either flat out, or you have just made a slight, raise of your accelerator. So just, let go a little bit the accelerator, and you're through the turn. But you arrive at the turn quite wide. Sometimes you are even touching the curb, the outside curb, which means that if you hear the curb, you are really, really very, very close to the wall. Now, very important. Again, when you are arriving at this outside the exit of this turn, you need to have as less steering wheel as possible. If you find yourself in a situation like this with lots of steering wheel, that means you are in big trouble, because you will either go understeer towards the wall, or even if you won't get the wall, at some point you're gonna get the outside curb. Uh, the outside curb has lots of camber that will help your wheels to regain grip. And if you are like this, you're probably gonna have your nose going towards right and your rear end going in extremely snappy oversteer, and against the wall again. So you're sliding, you are watching the wall coming towards you, but you have to control yourself and use as less steering wheel input as possible, because that's the safest way to get out of this turn. All right, moving ahead. All right, so the first turn here is flat out. Okay, the trick here is, while doing this turn flat out, the, I mean, the feeling you have is, okay, I will stay towards, you know, the inside of the road, so I'm protected. But that is the worst possible situation to be in, because then you are going to have plenty of problems for the next turn. So even if it's flat out and you feel safe, you need to go a little bit outside your comfort zone and end up as wide as possible around here. You see there is a mark here. Now this mark says you have to turn in towards the next turn to the left. I don't remember the number of the turn, but you know, remember this little mark, white mark on the road. If you see marks like that, we do not put them there. They are already on the real tracks, but they are there on the real tracks because of a reason, you know. Real drivers, locals ask them, and they put them there. All right, so what are you going to do for this next turn? The line is pretty much, you know, unique. You don't have to think a lot about the line. Now, usually, personally, I find it easier for me, and if I have the correct setup and I feel the car properly, to enter flat out right at the apex of the turn, which is pretty much before the end of the curb. I just lift a tiny bit my accelerator, and by lifting, the front nose goes in, okay, and then instantly I go again flat out on the accelerator. This helps me to put the nose in and then slide slowly towards the outside, and again, if you do it properly, you are going to come very, very close to the wall. And so again, the advice is keep as little steering wheel as possible, because if you are in this situation, you're gonna hurt yourself at some point. So as little steering wheel as possible, move ahead. And now, here's the situation. Now, as you can see, this is completely blind. We can't see anything at all. Completely blind. But we have this Marshall, I don't know how to call it, box or whatever. Now we have the Marshall outside of that, but they are also inside there. Now, this is a great reference point, this one. When you are on top of the crest here and you're passing through this Marshall post, this is the time to start turning in for the next turn, and maybe raise your foot a little bit and come inside into this point. Now, be very careful, because this curve here is really, really very tricky. It's very tricky because, first of all, you are arriving here at a very high speed. This fourth or fifth gear, I don't remember right now, almost flat out turn, so it is really very high speed, and I'm sure that you saw in the real race that so many accidents happen into this turn. Now, if you're forced to, you know, raise your foot here because you feel that the car is sliding too wide, be very careful, because if you raise your foot when you are on top of this curb, you're gonna provoke lots of turn in and oversteer, and you are at a very high speed, which means that you're gonna make your diffuser, if you go into too much angle, you're gonna make your diffuser stall and your rear wing stall, while your front splitter still generates tons of downforce, which means you're gonna completely lose your rear end and end up into a spin. So if you really need to, you know, correct your line here, my advice is, instead you're like this in you know, full accelerator. Instead of going like that, completely off, don't do it. From full acceleration, just go down to half or 70 or 6, just what you need to feel that the front end starts going a little bit inside, but do not overdo it. If you let go a lot, it's, I won't say instant death, but you know, it's pretty close. So yeah, be very careful on, you know, controlling and trying to change your line into this turf. All right. Okay. So outside, and again, this is another curb that you need to be very careful. It seems that it is a very nice smooth curb, but it is very easy to end up like this. Okay, so which means that your right wheels are over the curb, and this is what happens. So if you are in that position and you are very fast, as you can see, I'm practically already touching. Okay, I'm scrubbing the ground. I'm touching the curb with the under tray of my car, almost not. But remember, right now I am stopped. When you are arriving here at full speed, the downforce makes your car lower, and the turning makes your car rolling towards the outside. So this part of the car is even lower, and for sure is going to touch the curb. And when the curb touches, when the car touches this curb, it's practically, you know, mathematical that you're going to spin or lose control. And again, there is not much space here. It seems that there is some space, but not really much space. And most importantly, you are at around, I don't know, 220, 230 kilometers per hour, 200 kilometers per hour, a lot, which means whatever the space, it's not enough to control the car if you go into a spin. So be very careful. Don't go over this curb. At worst case scenario, touch it, maybe go up a little bit, but that's it. After the curb, instantly, as fast as you can, go here on the left side of the road, and just before this news kind of billboard, okay, just before that, touch the brakes hard, but instantly release the brakes. Do not go over these curbs on the brakes, because if you do so, the front end, you're going so fast that the front end is going to, you know, jump just a tiny bit. You won't see it on the replay. It's practically, it's not jumping. But it gets so light that even the ABS cannot control what's happening, and you're going to lock your wheels under braking if you keep braking after the crest. So with locked wheels, even the tiny bit of directionality that you have, you're gonna lost it completely, and you're gonna end up wide without possibility to brake, and crash on the walls, because as you can see, we have walls left and right. So hard brake right here, and just before going over the crest, right here, release the brakes completely. Now, if you are very good, you can keep just a tiny bit of braking, and, you know, brake a little bit later. But while you're still learning hard brakes, release the brakes completely and drive the car with the steering wheel, go in complete coasting, okay, and drive the car with the steering wheel. You need to go close to this wall, and after you are over this wall here, this apex, let's say, then you can start braking again. Uh, Still, be careful. It's better to modulate braking here, because as you can see, there is a very steep downhill. The road has camber here, not camber here, different grades of going downhill. So your wheels will not always have, actually they never have the correct amount of load correctly balanced left and right. So the ABS is gonna make your braking zone very, very long. So you have to modulate your braking so that you do not engage too much ABS in this situation. Is it all clear for you until now? Because this is the most difficult part right now. All right. with the Audi, it's so difficult and dangerous. Well, with all cars, but the Audi in particular is a little bit too much downforce on the front, especially with the Evo, which makes the car even more difficult to control in braking. I mean, the Audi usually likes to go, you know, deep into the turn, make a V turn, rotate, and then go out straight. In this kind of turns that you need to keep a little bit of braking while you still rotating the car left and right, left and right, it really gets nasty. And you saw this also in the real race where there were some Audis having some terrible accidents into this part of the race. So, as we said, you need to get on top of the curb going down here. Again, modulate your braking. You cannot afford to go, you know, full 100% braking here and, you know, trust the ABS. You cannot trust the ABS into this kind of turns. Down the curb, and again turning in here. Again, every time you have just a tiny portion of straight line while you're braking, hammer the brake at 100%, and then when you turn again, modulate the braking force as much as possible. Very light braking here. And now this is the situation. I don't have an exact reference point. Maybe it's this panel billboard here. Maybe we can check this better. But there is a point here that for now I'm going still by visual, navigation. There is a point where you really need to turn in to go as close to this wall as possible. And this turn in is not the geometric one. It is a little bit earlier, because if you turn it to the geometric, because of the extreme change in gradient of the road, you're gonna end up very wide. The trick here is to know and understand that you are going to understeer, and you are going to understeer a lot here, because practically there is a very hard left turn, and the road, you are on the road and then you're not. You just, you know, it's not a gradient. It's a step. The road under your wheels disappears. So you turn in, you know you're gonna hit the wall, but at some point your wheels are your front end is practically flying, all right? And so the car instantly moves towards the outside, and you make the turn properly. And so you need to be somewhere like here, like this, even if that normally would mean, you know, I will go against the wall. But if you are arriving at speed, a steering wheel like this will, you know, help you turn a little bit. Then you go up on the air, practically jumping. The car will jump a little bit to the right side, and then hopefully you're gonna end somewhere around here. And at this point, you can, you know, straighten your steering wheel again. And the key here is, let me go a little bit backwards just to explain you. The key here is that when you are in this situation, you go flat out on the accelerator. I mean, the moment you feel the car that starts moving towards the outside because it is jumping, all right? It is flying practically. At that moment, you go hard on the accelerator, and you trust the car, like this, to move and arrive pretty much here. Now, if you have done everything correctly, you're gonna do all this part here flat out, right? Again, flat out. You need to stay as much on the left side as possible. Here we have another line. You can see this white line on the road. Now this is a good indication to start braking a little bit, or at least releasing the accelerator. Some people, I mean, it depends. Some people prefer to go flat out here, go inside, okay, and start braking again. We can see it here at this point, or a little bit before this white mark on the road. Now, This is another of those turns that honestly I don't know how to do, so I would advise you to go and check some much faster guys replays and videos on YouTube. There are plenty of them, so go check them and see how they approach this turn. Remember, uh, they do this for a hot lap. So what they post usually on the forums is on the YouTube is a hot lap. For a race, you probably need to be much more conservative and not go full attack and break as late. So there are two ways to do this turn. So as I said, you can start brake a little bit earlier or just release and then accelerate again to uh, balance the car around here, or brake very late here. But after that, again, you have two situations. There are people that prefer to stay outside here, brake as straight as possible, and then go in, okay? And there are people that prefer to brake more or less in a straight line like this, okay? This permits you to brake a little bit better, probably, and then go inside. Now, if you choose the first solution that you stay outline, then you can take a later apex on the turn and exit much faster, which is very, very important because, as you know, uh, what follows is a very, very long straight. So any speed that you gain at the exit of this turn is extremely important for the straight line that follows. If you find yourself here, the curb, sorry, the camber of the road does help you a little bit to stay close, okay, to the wall, but you have to be a little bit more patient. Uh, will probably accelerate a tiny bit later, but again, if that helps you to make the turn, maybe it's better. We're gonna try and see if we can, learn these one way or another and see what works better for us. Normally, I would, advise only one specific way, the correct way. But we are in a circuit where usually you have to do very long endurance races, and you have one wall on the left and one wall on the right, and probably another 50 crazy people like you trying to overtake you and trying to defend from you, and you are all, rumbling down the mountain together. So my advice in this situation is, in a race, since there's not a big difference between the two methods, try and use the method that you feel more safe for you and for the others, right? So usually I feel a little bit safer to break in a straight line and stay close. Some other people prefer to go on the outside, and then it's fine. Do whatever you prefer. Just try to stay safe, because those goals do not forgive. All right. So as I said, exit with as much speed as possible, and very, very long straight. Very long straight here. Not much to say. Try to move slowly to the left side of the road. Now, here's something that everybody does. At some point, the road becomes a little bit wider. Take advantage of it. Go even more on the left side, okay? Because you're arriving at this point of the track with around 270 kilometers per hour, and you're still accelerating. And you really need to. Now, this part of the road is very bumpy. You go into this turn, which is flat out, but it is bumpy, and you feel the bumpiness. And it pays for you and for your performance to use as little steering wheel angle as possible. Less rolling resistance on the tires, less upsetting of the car on the bumps, and so less engagement of the traction control. And in the end, you're gonna maybe gain 1, 2, 3 kilometers per hour before the braking zone. Every little thing counts. So uh, it's good to use as much of the road as possible. All right. So again, here you're gonna use again as little steering wheel angle as possible. Do not overdo it. So do not end up very wide at the left. Try to end up more or less at the middle of the road, because this is why we're taking advantage of the extra width of the road before the turn, so that at the exit we do not end up extremely wide, but more or less a tiny bit on the left side of the middle of the road. This will help you to be able to come back to the right again. Okay, braking is, I think, a little bit, I mean, between 150, 100, 100 meters, between 150 100 meters. Maybe we should find a better braking mark, because obviously those billboards can fly away from some other car. I will have a look later. I don't remember right now, so remind me to find a better braking mark for this part of the road. But the thing is here, you are arriving usually with any car at over 280 kilometers per hour, and you are downhill. So you need to brake a little bit sooner, and you need to be very careful, because at the end of this braking zone, this turn is pretty tricky. It seems easy. The turning is easy. It's easy to get into the turn, but after the apex, it's very easy to slide wide, because you see it gets even narrower. And if you end wide and over the curb, you're gonna lose so much speed. So be very careful at the exit, and after that it's very easy, just flat out this part. uh, a little bit of caution if you are with cold tires or very worn out tires. Sometimes on some cars you might have some power oversteer at the exit of this second part of the turn, of the chicane, let's say. All right, down now. Now this, for the last turn, again, I usually brake way later than the 100 meters mark, and usually I take as a mark just before this starting line here. You see it's 50 meters, and there is a starting line here, just a tiny bit before that, more or less, depending again how's your fuel load, your tires consumption, and so on. Uh, the turn, I mean, you have to be a little bit careful to uh, not arrive way too fast. It's not a very hard turn, but if you arrive way too fast here, you're gonna end wide. But it's a turn that, tells you what to do, because if you cannot turn in, you already know that, okay, I need to touch my brakes a little bit to rotate the car, because I'm ending up wide here. But you still have the time to do it. It's not a turn that, okay, I've mistaken this, I cannot make the turn, I will end up wide. No, you can still work with the turn. It helps you. So yeah, it's an easy turn. Just take it correctly, and don't go too wide, because after the curb it's grass, and you don't want to end up to the grass. So do everything correctly, and you won't have a problem. Let's go a little bit forward and see turn one, which we didn't have the opportunity to check, because we started from the pits. All right. So again, 100 meters is way too early. So I end up usually braking a bit forward, just before this column here with the light. Yeah, before the 50 meters and before this light pole here. Um, it's important here to remember that you have a very long straight, the mountain straight, after the T1. So um, brake a tiny bit earlier, get the correct line here, okay, and try to accelerate already from here with the car properly rotated. If the car is not properly rotated, you're gonna end a bit wide, and you're gonna lose a lot of time going uphill. So rotate the car properly, go on the accelerator as soon as possible. No classic stuff, slow in, fast out. Very long straight. It is also uphill. Everybody behind you want to overtake, so this is one of those turns that they are easy on the basics, but you have to do it properly. All right, guys. Okay, so this is a circuit walk for Bathurst. We are gonna go into the usual race weekend now and start from practice and keep going. All right, so quit, back, and let me check the chat and see how you guys are doing. We have already 200 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much, guys. Always so many. We are friends nowadays. All right, so how the V12 is compared to the V8? Well, the V12 is an old dinosaur, and the V8 is a completely modern car with tons of downforce, tons of mechanical grip, tons of balance, low center of gravity. It's perfect, but it has a slow engine because of the BOP. But the V12 is just engine, and that's it. It's a big V12 engine, heavy at the front of the car, and not much downforce, uh, high center of gravity, not very sophisticated suspension geometry, just suffers, everywhere. Advice on where we can brake before the uphill and get away with most car. Yeah, we'll see that. Uh, you need to add a repeat for 12 hours in the end. True, true. Repeat for 12 hours. Uh, right, in the AMG, I need to brake a tiny bit before the 100, or I go wide. All right, 12 hours of madness indeed. Nice time, 38 minutes, 05, new record. Aliens are nothing for us. uh, Copromani. Oh, mate, come on, your nickname. Oh, mate. uh, ask me if I know what this 500 megabytes download was today. It was a fix for steering assist for joypad users. Nothing to worry about, except if you're a joypad user. So, yeah, you need that because otherwise you'll have stability issues and you won't be able to drive the car. We're still working a little bit with assist on multiplayer and single player. We're gonna nail it. Trust in Kunos. How toe influences temperature in ACC? The more toe you have, the more the tires scrub and slide, even in the straight line, and the more temperature they create. Why the V12 Aston has no diffuser? Because it's old and vintage and not pretty, but yeah, it's just looks. Yeah. When do we get DAS in the ACC? Oh God. Well, if you want me to, maybe after some laps we can talk about the Formula One tests. Aris, is it worth to learn the 2018 1991, or should I just stick with the 2019? Oh God, it depends. If performance is your only reason, then stick with the 2019 with the Evo car. If you want an extra challenge, then you can also try the old car. But honestly, I prefer the new car. It is better, everything, and it's still a ton of challenge. So you don't lose anything, to be honest. Just stick with the Evo car. Downforce asking me to change the view cam to see more of the guy that is driving. All right. Zandvoort be updated? I don't think so. Is preferred to use the manual start engine during pit stop? Is it more faster to use the manual start engine during pit stop? Everything manual is always a tiny bit faster than automatic, or automatic is always a tiny bit slower than manual. But obviously, you get the risk with manual. So with automatic, we might lose 1 or 2 seconds or half a second. I don't know, depends on the situation. But with manual, if you do something wrong, then you're stuck for a long time. Give you an example: if you put everything manual, so ignition and starter, normally you go down from the pit stop and you only have to press starter. Personally, because I'm vintage, I have done many times. I've been in a situation where, by error, instead of pressing the starter, I pressed the ignition and then the starter. You know, and what I did was completely switch off the whole car, and the starter would do nothing at all. So I had to press ignition again and start again, and in the meantime, 5, 4, 10 seconds going away. Uh, all right. Okay. Okay. So let's go in. What's that? 12 hours, right? 12 hours. All right. Race length, 12 hours. Let's lower a little bit the count so I don't have to switch the graphic quality. And let's go in. Uh, Richard Thompson asks a very interesting question. Says, as we Kunos, we have acquired the licenses for these tracks. Will Kunos be able to put them into another game, or do you need to pay every time for them? Every time you do a new title and has a different name, and it is a different title, you sell it as a different title, you have to pay all the licenses again from scratch. So, and with different economic also agreements. So to give you an example, we had Monza, right, on Assetto Corsa 1, and we had, I don't know, the Audi R8 GT3. We do Assetto Corsa Competizione, we have to pay the license of the trucks and the cars and everything in a different time, while we are still paying licensing royalties for Assetto Corsa 1 until we have Assetto Corsa 1 on sale. I mean, as long as Assetto Corsa 1 is still selling, we have to pay royalties and licenses for this title, and we are paying different royalties and different licenses for Assetto Corsa Competizione. So that's why I'm telling you guys, licensing is has become extremely important and extremely difficult. And I know that you guys are all happy, and you are also getting used to having all the proper names and license the trucks and cars and series and everything on all simulators that you use, and you, some of you, not all of you, take this as a given. It's okay, it's normal, no big deal. It is extremely difficult to get all the license, extremely difficult to get everybody to agree with what you need to have and what you need to pay and everything. And it is extremely hard to pay for all of that. Lots of money going into license royalties. So yeah, uh, but yeah, it's 2020, so that's how we have to do it. Uh, American SRO tracks, no idea. As usual, licensing is not something that I know. Race is 8th of March, and yes, we are going to stream it with Minolin and Punky Papus. Right. Update for Zandvoort, I don't know yet. No idea. Yeah, no money, no licenses, no problems. Exactly. Kirill Kazin, by the way, is one of the most amazing 3D artists. So give him a big high five and applause for him, virtual applause. This guy is amazing. The 3D art he can create is, I mean, the cars and some of the side parts of the tracks you see in Assetto Corsa 1 and Competizione is his work. He's one hell of an artist. Well done. Assetto Corsa 1 get any love from devs? No, no, we have done with development of Assetto Corsa 1. GTA, I don't know, of course, the details, but I can also. Sorry, the Maverick says so. That's why Grand Theft Auto has a lot of fake cars. Interesting. Uh, Not only that, again, I don't know the details, but I can imagine. Some of the car manufacturers absolutely do not permit to have cars, blown away or losing parts or catching fire, or even more importantly, going over humans or animals. Virtual doesn't matter. Uh, they specifically write to the licensing that our car cannot uh, go through a human, a virtual human, or a virtual animal, or let alone be also realistic, blood and everything. So I can imagine, again, I do not know the details, that no manufacturer, or at least not most of the manufacturers, permit to Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto to have their cars officially inside the game because of the nature of the game. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Let's start doing some laps. So, uh, step one: aggressive setup and drive, and see what can I do. All right. Raise a little bit the noise and the sound. Yeah. V12. Yeah. Listen to this. Yeah. Oh, I'm at the end of the pit lane. Nice. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, so powerful. Wah. Okay, let's take it easy because we know that those guys are going slow at the first lap. Whoops. Wasn't watching carefully. Come on, give me some space. Woohoo. Ooh. Code brown. See? Alright, yeah. Oh my god, how are we going to do 3 hours here and then 12 hours later this summertime, I believe. I don't remember exactly the date, but after the 3 hours test, we're gonna have a 12 hours endurance race on this track. It's gonna be impossible. Alright, oh, whoa, whoop. That's it. A bit too wide. Okay. Listen to that sound. Listen to it. V12. See, a little bit earlier. but not enough. Still getting the grips with the truck and everything. Not good. Straight steering wheel. Whoa. Not good, not good. I'm not to my rhythm yet. Brake, release. Modulate. Modulate. Go in and inside. Oh, nope. Oh. And that will teach me to talk when I'm going downhill here. I told you tonight won't be the correct night to do this stuff, but let's stick to it. Let's get some rhythm. The car is not so good now. Okay, let's use the pit entry too. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to see how the pit entry is into this truck. All right. Return to garage, and always we want to keep the same tire set for now and see what is going to be. All right. Come on. Go. That's what I told you. I mistakenly switched the ignition off. No, ICC will not get standing starts. We are simulating a series, guys, not a generic simulator. All right. All right, let's focus. Wah. Have some understeer here, but still cold tires. Don't trust the car yet. Car also scratches a little bit. Very slow around there, but better to take the realistic approach and be careful, so that I can learn the truck, get the grips with the truck, understand the car, which is new for me, and then slowly start getting faster. This is actually the perfect situation, you know, you don't know the car very well, so you need to take some time for yourself to get into the terms of how the car reacts. I have plenty of coasting understeer with this car right now, which means that I'm braking, releasing the brakes, and the car goes understeering wise. So when I'm coasting, I'm not touching the accelerator, I'm not touching the brakes, and Even if I feel that the speed is correct, the car just keeps going straight. Plenty of things that we can do on the setup for this thing. See how I raised my foot just a tiny bit because I'm not confident to push the car flat out into that turn yet. I'm also touching a lot, not a good thing. You can hear the car continuously going, scratching the ground. Ah. And I feel I need to use one gear down on some turns. Maybe the tires are a little bit better now. I was able to turn in better. Not so much. 2.05 with terrible mistakes. I can live with that for now. Which means there is hope. I believe 2.4, 204 is gonna be easy. Understeer, come on. Yeah, we need to fix that. Definitely. Ooh, look at that. Oof. Wow, that engine is amazing. Oh, ooh. Oh, come on. Ooh. Move the car outside, 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 outside. That's bad. Terrible. Yay. Anyway. Alright. Let me see how the chat is laughing at my situation. Alright, alright. Let's work a little bit on this. I don't like it at all, to be honest. I mean, it's good, but it's not. Okay, what can we do? Well, first things first. Pressures. So we have plenty of pressures here and not enough here. So let's lower this down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This seems correct, and this seems completely out of place. I don't know if it's because of the crash or not. Teleporting to pits, yes, it was not realistic at all, but the car was completely crashed, so, imagine that they picked me up. Alright, so let's see this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. I would like to have the car rotated a bit more, so let's go down a little bit with the toe. Although this is more of a fine-tuning, but yeah, we can see if it works. All right. Now, the aero in this car is a little bit different. Why it is different? As you know, those cars are very sensitive in ride height. Okay. But in this case, in the rear ride height, as you can see here in the front aero variation, it doesn't produce big differences, okay, when the car finally stops bouncing, right? Because I'm going up and nothing really changes. Why is that? Because practically we don't have any rear diffuser. So yes, we have a very tiny rear diffuser. So the difference that we create in aero variation towards the front of the car by raising the rear end uh, gets balanced out by having the rear wing changing angle, because obviously when you are raising only the rear of the car, the rear wing also gets into a higher angle. So yes, you raise a little bit and you get some aerial variation going forward, as usually, as we said. But because it is the variation, it is very, very tiny, it's really small because we don't have a proper diffuser at the back. uh, this variation gets balanced out by the change in angle of the big rear wing. So you see we are at 1%, and if we go up, okay, like this, and we wait a tiny bit for the car to balance out, nothing really changed. We had only a 0.3, 0.2 percent of change in balance. So in this car, changing the ride height doesn't really give us lots of aero difference. What we can do, we can try and use less wing so we can gain even more acceleration and top speed. I don't know if that's the solution for this track, but we can try it. And of course, when you change the wing, you can see massive differences in front aero variation. So from 8 we go down to 7 and we are 2.2, and 3.3 in 6. We can try this. Here's the situation. Since we hear the car scraping the road, so touching the surface of the road a lot, especially with the front splitter, we could get back a little bit of this front aero variation by raising a tiny bit the front splitter. Uh, Now this, as you can see, does create a little bit of difference at the front variation, because obviously the splitter alone is very sensitive to the ride height. Okay, so 2 millimeters higher front ride height, it brings the aero balance a tiny bit rear, and it also probably maybe will help us touch less the ground with the front. Obviously, it will create also less downforce, total downforce, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe having a better balance of the car will help us go faster anyway. All right. So yeah, let me control that we have the tire set one. Uh, Tire wear doesn't seem extreme. Well, all right, but it is pretty much equal. Actually, more tire wear at the front than at the rear, so that is something to take into account. Okay, let's go back. And let's go out for a couple of laps. Again, our benchmark today is going to be to go to 2.03, hopefully, with worn tires and everything and fuel, and then, move on from there. I think, if the car is balanced to drive now, we'll see at the first turn, then the only thing that stops us from doing a 0.3 is just me, the driver, because as you can see, I'm driving really, really badly. So I just have to, take care of my driving, focus better. Yeah. And I mean, I'm still hitting the limiter, so to say, because I'm just listening to the engine, and I'm not paying attention at the revs. So Car doesn't feel dangerous. A tiny bit of oversteer there. You better don't talk during this part of the track. Limiter again. Okay, so yeah, I don't feel the car dangerous, so that more front downforce for now, it seems like a good solution. I can still brake at the same braking zone, actually even better probably. Yeah, it's better than before. Turn in is good. Turn in is not bad, but I get some understeer after the apex. Also, I feel the car a little bit bouncy, so maybe I need some softer dampers. Not so good here. Limiter. Very bad driving tonight. Clearly I'm not properly concentrated. Kiss the wall, as I say. Car still scraping the ground. Oh. Am I that slow, or the delta still doesn't work? Wow. Lower car, less drag. Always. Or almost always. Oh. Very, very, very jumpy. Oh, come on, really? Let's move the brake balance a bit backwards. Yeah, that helped me a little bit. $244 guys watching. Thank you so much, guys. Even if this is not the best evening, it's still great. Oh, come on. You see, went too wide there. Nothing I can do. Short shift there in 4th gear to keep the nose in. This car really lacks downforce. You can feel it that it doesn't stay, you know, planted. It jumps around, moves a lot. I mean, it has the acceleration and everything, but it doesn't have mid-turn speed. You cannot attack the corner, you cannot attack the exit of the corner. I mean, it's great on the straight line, but yeah. Well, we will make it work at some point. We just have to stick with it and slowly make it better and better. Oh, come on. I guess I have to brake earlier for that turn. Nothing I can do. Can brake late here. Stay. Ooh! Ah! At least the sound is great. Ah, that was better. That was much better. Oh, come on, again, limiter? Traction control. Jumps around, slides around. I'm starting to hate the car. No, come on, concentrate. It's a nice car. Respect it. And it will respect you. She will respect you back. Ooh. Don't do that. Ooh. Go straight. Safe mode. Ooh. Okay, saved it somehow. Just a tiny scratch on the wall. That was close. And now you know what you have to do when you're losing control over the crest. Just go straight. Little bit earlier braking, and yes, this time we've made it. Just have to brake earlier with this car. Yeah. Oh, come on. No drinking and drive. Yeah, you can feel it. You can see how bad I am tonight. It's actually a great way to understand how bad drinking is for driving. I mean, you can feel great and everything, but it's so dangerous. So, just remember this, guys, every time you go out. Don't do it. Ja, so Mike. I'm watching at the chat, and I'm not watching where I'm going. Okay, I can lower one click the traction control, so I have some better rotation of the car in the exercise. As I said, in this car the traction control is old type. It engages too much, doesn't help you really, so the lower you use, the better it is. And even at traction control level 1, I can still feel it, stopping my acceleration. Yeah. Yeah, that's better at least. I can rotate a little bit with the accelerator. Yeah. No torque, come on. I'll delay the accelerator here, I cannot go flat out. I've lost the apex there. Yeah, it's better to drive, but it's slower. I need more wing, I think. I'm gaining some time here. I'm not sure that the lower wing works better. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, it's better, but only because I finally made the last turn properly. Yeah, it goes a little bit better. You see, the problem is me. It's not the car yet. All right. Rotate, damn it. Whoa. Oh. Okay, I'm alive somehow. Tire pressures are all over the place, so next thing we're gonna do is play a little bit with the tire pressures. Okay, 0.4 low. But here, alright. Okay, so we need to check our tire pressures. They're not good at all. The car slides a lot around. Ooh, hits the wall just. That was a better downhill than before because I was very high at the delta, but I managed to take it down to less than 1 second, so it was better. Now over the curve there, I don't have to remember to not touch that curb over there. Ooh, whoops. That's not how you do it. Okay, so 27.8, 26, 27. Have to lower the front right and the left rear. All right. Return to the garage setup. Okay, so I have to lower this 2 to 3 psi less. 1, 2, 3, and this something like 1 or 2. I don't remember. 1, 2. Okay. So let's see what's going on. The video of the DLC was V8. V8 is so much faster, so much faster. There's no comparison. All right, so I have a little bit of. I've noticed that my right front tire gets a little bit on the yellow temperature, which means it goes a little bit too high in the temperature. We could try and lower a little bit the temperature by going a tiny bit less camber. So if we go here something like 3.5, and of course here, oops, this will maybe help the tire, keep the temperature a little bit lower. Now, what is going to happen? Of course, we're going to have more understeer. Well, we can lower the rear camber and hope that the car will rotate better with less rear camber. Now that's an idea. We'll see how to. Again, we're trying to create a setup for the race. I want to go down to 65% of brake bias, which I saw already that it helps me out with the car. What else we can do? Now, I think that if I go back one click with the rear wing, it's going to be better in the end, because it might give me some understeer, and I'm going to try and see if I can improve this. But having the car more planted, it's a better thing than trying to get more top speed at just a couple of straights. So let me raise a little bit the rear end. Now, raising the rear end here, as you see, it doesn't change a lot the front variation, but I do hope that by raising, and of course I'm not going to do just 2 clicks at a time this time. I'm hoping that raising the rear right height will also modify the suspension geometry going upwards, which means that the arms of the suspension will go down, and that will bring the instant center of rotation higher. Now, what's that? Well, we're going into more complicated stuff. Practically, um, the suspension, okay, how it is designed, it creates one virtual point into the space. And the distance between that point, which is called instant center of rotation of the suspension, and the center of gravity, those two things create a lever, which is how much the car then will roll. Now, the closer the distance between the two, the harder, the stiffer is the suspension in terms of rolling. Okay, because the lateral forces act on the center of gravity, and the center of gravity has to rotate with the instant center of rotation of the suspension. So this is the instant center. This is the center of gravity, and it has to do like this. Okay. Now, if this is longer, obviously the lever is longer, so with less force the car rolls more. Less shorter lever, more force to rotate the car. So by making the rear suspension higher, you bring the instant center of rotation closer to the center of gravity, and the lever becomes smaller, and it is almost as if the suspension was stiffer without using stiffer wheel rates. Okay, so let's try this and see if that will help us make the car easier to rotate with the accelerator or with the or in costing. I could also, to help a little bit the cost, I don't know, yeah, I've already made lots of changes. So let's go back and switch to the front brakes again. You see that we have more wear at the front, so that's going to be an issue with the car. It's going to be more and more and more understeer as we go ahead into the race. So yeah, we'll have to see what we can do about that. Sorry. All right. All good, guys, at the chat. I see so many people connected. Wow. It's almost midnight and we have so many people connected. Amazing. That instant center of rotation, I don't know if that was a very good explanation. We're gonna see it again another day maybe and explain it better and see if it's clear for you guys. All right. Tonight we'll try to do some driving. I wanna see a 2.03 with this car and hopefully later a 2.02. One click on the rear wheel, one click. From 6 to 7. I didn't went up to 8 again. I want to see if I can find the the correct compromise in the middle of the values that I choose. Oh, come on. Damn. I have to stop watching and reading the chat while I'm driving, especially at Bathurst. I mean, what am I thinking? Seriously. Car rotates pretty well. Maybe we're into something here. I can feel the car rotate and I don't have big issues controlling the rotation, so a little bit of understeer there. Yeah, I can use traction control 1 again, like this. Maybe also I can use a little bit higher ABS, because otherwise I get too much locking of the tires. Maybe I can go to 3 or 4. Let's try 4 for this track. Nice. How am I going to... How is it possible to do 3 hours, let alone 12, into a circuit like this, following other cars? During the night. Yeah, forgot about that then. Come on, V12. Come on. You have 2 cylinders more than the Audi. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Go. Brake, brake. Ah, stop. Good. Tiny bit of understeer still. We'll see. Yeah, that's it. Oh. I'm starting to get too much understeer. Why? Well, why? Too much downforce at the rear, probably. The track right now is quite hot. 32 degrees. Very hot. Getting more and more. That for sure doesn't help. But it's okay, it's okay. Let's go get this beamer. Yeah. You're dead. Alright. Ah. Nice. Come on. Bad exit. You see, very bad exit. Kevin stuck in front. Well, it's no problem. It's gonna remain without fuel again. And I've lost all my time gained. Let's use some extra rear bias on the accelerator. Whee. Hot. Oh, I unbalanced the car in the turning there. Ah. Not driving properly. So generic lines and no, not good. Struggling, really struggling today. More rear bias is good. So I will go some more. We're down to 63. Not good here. So the next thing I want to try and change is probably I'm gonna work a little bit with the dampers. Ooh, too much rear bias. Make the car turned in now. Now you see how the car keeps jumping around. You can even hear it from the engine. Yeah. Ah. Okay, let's go to the pits. Let's see if we can improve a little bit. Yeah, the car understeer on cost. I'm trying to fix it with more rear brake bias, but that's not the correct fix. Because at the moment that you release the braking, the car just goes straight. So if you keep doing something and it doesn't improve, then go back a little bit and try to correct it differently. Okay, here brake a bit sooner than before. Yeah, it's the weight of the engine. So, did you know, guys, that here you have a very clear indication. So those lines here, 1, 2, 3. Now it's 3 with the car up, jacked up. If we let the car go down, and you will see it now, it's gonna be 4. So this little stop sign here, it has those lines. Okay. Now let's wait a little bit of my controls to go out, so they will release the car down, and you're gonna see something very interesting. So you need, of course, to know pretty much where to place the stop sign. So in my case, it's just a tiny bit right of the steering wheel. Okay. And you need to brake Okay, and arrive. Now, obviously, he took away the stop sign. For this car, you need to arrive at the fourth line from the top. We will do it again later. This is your reference point for making the perfect pit stop. Okay, and for each car it's different, so you have to practice it. But you do have a reference point for the perfect position on the pit stop. Okay, and it is the stop sign of the Lollipop man. Yep, now you know. I will say this again next time we go into the pits, so it is clear, and then we can cut it and put it into the Did You Know new playlist that I'm creating on the channel. So setups again, strategy here at tire set 1. Dampers, yeah, ooh, I can see some high amounts of rebound here. All right, so I will try to bring this down to 20. It's a little bit too much, but I will try to bring it down to 20. And I will try to make the fast bumps 5 clicks down everywhere, because I would like to make the car less bouncy over the bumps of the road. So again, 10 here, 10 here, and 15 and 15 on the rebound. So I'm going symmetrically 5 clicks down everywhere, trying to understand if I can make the car a little bit less bouncy. Okay. And the other thing that I want to do, although this is more, I don't know, I'm hesitant if I have to, raise a couple of clicks the rear anti-roll bar or lower the preload differential. Let's try with the rear anti-roll bar to 3, and then maybe you can get back if we don't like it and see. So this 3 more clicks at the rear anti-roll bar, since we don't have any diffuser at the back, it will hopefully act as normal mechanical grip and will hopefully make the car rotate better. In a car with more under tray downforce with a proper diffuser, higher rear roll bar will limit the roll and might make the diffuser work better, which might give you more understeer or even more stable rear end of the car. But in this car that we don't have any diffuser, uh, it might act purely as a mechanical grip change and will probably help us, rotate the car better. All right, let's try. Yes, I will go down to 64, 64.2, as we tried. Tire set is on 2. I want the ABS up to 4 and traction control to 1. This seems okay, so let's go. All right. Yeah, the main issue right now, yes, I can feel the car because I have some experience with the car's handling. But the main issue right now is the driver. It's not really the car. The main problem right now is the driver. The most time we are gaining is from the driver. I'm just not driving correctly. But it all helps. It's training, and I'm creating muscle memory right now, which will help me tomorrow after tomorrow, or I don't know, Monday, when we will try again to get better and faster into the mountain. So let's create our muscle memory. It's all for the better. And in the meantime, we can do some extra setup work. Ooh. far reacts pretty well. But let's heat up the tires and everything first. We still have to remember that we are still on tire set 1. And it is very worn out, so yeah. Okay, we have one more lap on this practice session. Not so good exit. That wasn't bad. That was good too, I think. Oof. And we get some slipstream maybe. It's gonna completely ruin my braking zone, I know. Ah, yeah. Look how much time I'm losing from my delta. I improved. Not bad. I've managed to improve. With very, very worn tires. And if it wasn't for that back marker, I would have probably improved much better. Much more. Nice. Okay, I think we are into something here. 2.46, that would have been 2.45 maybe. But not enough. Alright, so next session. Save the setup for now. So save, have some setups here. I will call this stream 01 maybe. Save that. And I can post it to you guys later. That rear anti-roll wasn't bad. I will also lower a little bit the differential now. I will go down to 60, say, and try that. Yeah. Okay. Should we try new tires or not yet? Let's do one more lap with the old tires and see what we can do. All right.
Green light, go, go, go.
Okay, let's see if we can improve. What's the 38 degrees, Jurga? 38 degrees of the track. Okay. Light flat spot front left. It's getting worse and worse. half an hour warm tires. They don't feel that bad, almost.
Clear on the right.
Ui. Work, Aris, work hard. Too wide here. No, I'm not doing competition races, guys, because I simply don't have the time. So either I do those streams for you and me, or I do competition races, so... Could use some turn-in sometimes. Yeah. Had to raise my foot way too much. Yeah. Ah, come on, man.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Can't say that the bouncing is much better with the softer dampers, but it's not worse either. Ah, come on. Ah. I need to cure some of this. Ooh, some of this understeer. Wow. Yeah, it's I lowered the dampers by 5 clicks. It's especially the fast ones. It's a bit better, but not by a big margin. But yeah, it is a little bit better. The you know what the the feeling I get from this car is that on this circuit, uh, it's a car that needs big clicks to change behavior, and I cannot do really big difference in the setup to change behavior because on this circuit, if I do what I would like to do, then I will scratch the surface way too much, and that's not good. If I don't do that, then I get, you know, understeer and not much of turn in. If I do something else to fix the understeer, then on top of the mountain, on the downhill, I get to oversteer and the car is unstable and I have issues. Anyway, so did you know that the Lollipop Man is the perfect reference point to know where to stop for your pit stop? For example, I would eliminate that overlay so that you can only see the Lollipop Man. So I have to be a little bit here, and now you can see if I go just a tiny bit farther away slowly, okay, and this goes away. Let me go a little bit slowly. Here, fourth, pop, instantly up. So a little bit on the right for this car, and at the fourth line from the top, it's the perfect place to stop your car, at least the Aston Martin. Other cars need different reference point, but the reference point is here. It works better if you eliminate completely the overlay, the graphical overlay, and you can do that on the options HUD, I think. Where is it? I don't remember. Maybe on assists or the videos. I don't remember where it is. No, I think it's on the HUD. Proximity indicators, driver name, radar, pop-ups, center comps. I don't remember, but it is there somewhere. So you can eliminate completely, maybe on the general. Yeah, pit, no, pit markers off. That's it, I think. Okay. But you can also use it with the overlay, and you will see those arrows. Again, I think it's the third arrow, something like that. Those are your reference points for where to stop the car. You have to do some practice. You're gonna nail it. It's the perfect thing to do. Okay, so let's go back to the garage. Yeah, it's half a line. Come on. All right. So what we can do? I can try to make even less toe in, and what I can do here? I can try to raise 2 clicks the bump stop range. The car is not so sensible in pitch, so maybe that will help me. Let's exaggerate and see if something changes with the car handling. Yeah, yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Are we still in the same cars? Yeah. Ooh, 2.1. Wow. If we manage to get faster with these tires, then we are doing something quite good. Punky's in the house. Hello, Punky. Wheel rates could be, yes, a solution normally. I don't feel very confident on touching them right now because I am afraid that if I lower them, it might make. I'm sure that it will make the car touch the ground even more. Now, obviously, you can say, why not, make them stiffer both front and rear, and see what happens. I'm not so sure. I mean, the car is already a little bit bouncy. With stiffer wheel rates, it's gonna be even worse. But we can try it. We can try it. If nothing else works, then go for the unexpected, and the lap time is your only judge. Normally, I wouldn't make them stiffer because the car is jumpy, the track is bouncy. But again, we can try. the car will simply not turn in here. The front tire is very, very worn out. Yeah, we'll pick a new set. I just wanted to see how this very old set still, works with setup changes. But it's evident that we are at the limit of the tire grip now, so. Okay, let's see if we can do another 0.4 as before. Come on. Lost all the time, all the time. It won't turn here. It just won't turn in. So that's a good indication to know that at the end of a stint, if I won't be able to save the tires, if the tires go down to 2 millimeters, it's gonna be a tragedy. Yeah, totally. Situation is a little bit better here, but not by much, as you can see. No, you cannot change. Tortellini asked if we can change one side of the tires for shorter pit stop. No, you can't. I mean, you can, but it doesn't make any sense because by the rules, you are forced to. Yeah, I will abandon here. By the rules, you are forced to wait for a specific time. There is a minimum pit stop time if you touch even just one tire, or if you do the fuel, the refueling. So if you have to wait for all this, it doesn't make sense. You change all 4 of them. It's always like that. Okay, let's go back to the pits. Those tires are done. Doesn't make any sense to keep going with those tires here. The green cycle mouse cursor is a little program I found so that it's an overlay mouse so that I can show you stuff on the screen. Alright, let's go get new tires, fresh tires, come on. Fresh tires. Completely cut the road here. Again, have a look at the Lollipop man. I will try to brake and place the car at the 4th line from the top. Here you are. A little bit backwards. Up, like that. Okay. Alright, let's go back. Stop. Okay, so I won't change everything. I will just go into a new tire set and see how much we can improve, if we can improve at all. Actually, let me check at what point. Ooh, yeah, 235, 238, 225. So yes, quite a bit of, also some blister, also some flat spot, everything. All right. So tire set number 2, fresh. Grip, grip, grip. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can go down to 203 in the mental condition that I find myself tonight. Wee, let's go! Ooh, so much grip, guys. Even with the tires still cold. Wow. No, have to remind myself. Be careful. No, 4th gear here is not good. Wow, so much grip. Amazing what the fresh tires every time does to my brain. I'm losing completely all my reference points. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. No, I haven't changed the ride heights. Oh, thank you for the fresh tires. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous, guys. So much grip. Oh. My bad. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Damn. Oh, come on. Oh, fuck. How's the car? Do I have diamonds? Yes, I guess so. Ah. Ay. To the garage, fix everything. Yeah, I will put a Tarser 3. Hopefully, luckily in the 12 hours race you have plenty of Tarsets. No, the target here is for tonight to do a 2.02 or even a 2.03 because as you can see I am not focused at all, so 2.03 is not bad. And then later this week to go down to at least 2.01 or 2 point flat in qualifying trim. I'm pretty sure we can do it. What on earth today? Seriously, Aris? Come on. Now I'm hungry. Oh, how many cars are in front of me? Now the AI is not set so slow. It's that when they are going outside the pits, they're usually doing a slow lap and let other cars, go by. Damn, I can't get the slipstream of the AMG. How fast is this car? Wow. Hey. Took the curb completely. fuck. Yeah, they got this. Seriously? Alright, okay. Back to the pits. Ay. Okay. No, my bad, guys. Completely my bad. I told you that tonight it's not the correct, the right evening. Alright, so what we can do. Let's stiffen up the suspension and see. 170, 170, 175, 175. Let's see what is going to happen with a stiffer suspension. I don't think it's going to work because this car doesn't have very stiff chassis. There's lots of flex going on. I don't know. Might work, might not. We can try and see. I'm just curious to see how the car is going to feel with a much stiffer suspension. Yeah, as we said, this car, since it doesn't have so much, wow, since it doesn't have so much aero sensitivity, it doesn't have a diffuser practically. Uh, it it takes more clicks to see something changing. It's not so sensible in terms of clicking setup changes. We are gonna die. Oof. It jumped there and moved sideways. No, I don't think it's good. Right. It is a little bit more precise. Let's see if we can improve. That was easy here. Oh, come on, Aris, seriously? What is this shit? It still bounces, still touching the ground. Sausage flex. Yeah, it looks easier to go fast. Or I'm just, start to driving better, or the precision helps me to drive better. Or I'm getting sober. That's also a possibility. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it. Ah! Yeah, I was faster here. So, it seems that it helps me go faster. I don't really like it how it feels, but it seems I can go faster. I don't know what we can do. Maybe I can give it a little less front anti-roll bar and make the car a little bit smoother, and that might help me brake better, because I have issues with braking, locking the left and right, but it's also my driving style right now, which is not good at all. Temperatures were okay, a little bit on the high side, but yeah, span there. Okay, let's do this last time attack, see if we can get any better. We are in the 0.3s, but I don't know. I think I have much more to gain from my driving style. We're in the middle of the traffic. Excellent. It's just tonight. It's just not the correct day. Sorry. All right. So let's stop here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna return to the garage. Okay. I'm gonna do just continue here, stop, and I'm gonna do save. And I will post the save file for you guys if you wanna take it from here. And obviously the setups. So let's go back to the garage setup and save this like stream 02. Yeah, stiff. Stiff. Okay. Right. So some guys asked me some couple of information. So the resolution is normal 10,080. So it's 1090 120 by 1080. Yeah, 1080. Sorry, 1080. It's I'm streaming at full HD, 60 frames per second. I can do that because I have raised the bitrate ratio to something like 6,000. Luckily, I have a fiber here, so I can do that. Next thing, someone asked me, what do I use for the mouse cursor, and the little program I use is called Pointer Focus, which is this nice little thing. can also move it around. And I can also paint, so I can do things like that. It's very, very neat, very nice. I can do magnifier like this. Yeah, it can do some very nice stuff. Its server, it costs something like 10 euros, something like that. I think it's good value for money, and I highly, recommend it. It also has keystrokes, so if I do something like Control D, whatever, you see, you can see it like that. So yeah, it's very nice. I think it will help us a lot doing stuff here. What else? Can the current console generation handle ACC? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. FF first feedback settings. Yes, I can share that. I don't have the the new beta drivers. I still use the old ones, which are the stable, let's say, drivers. In terms of force feedback, I use something here that is not correct, but I have to use it because I have to balance all the cars like that. So what I use right now is 100% gain because this helps me to balance all the cars properly. Okay, and then in the force of the wheel, I use something like, where is it? Um, 25, 25. It's pretty stiff, but that's not the perfect way I would use my wheel. The perfect way would be something like 20, 20, 30 here, 30, let's say, and then so pretty low for the direct drive, guys. So low gain here and very high force inside the steering wheel. So force feedback, it would go up to something like 60 or 70, something like that. So give the direct drive wheel some, power to give you back the response. It won't be very hard to turn, but the moment you get bumps, etc., you will feel better. Dynamic damping is at 100. On consumer wheels, I would make this something like 50 or even 25. Okay, because consumer wheels have issues with damping. It oversaturates the signal and makes everything a little bit more flat. So lower that if you have consumer wheels. If you have direct drive, keep it at 100. Then the other thing that I use, so as I said, is something around 60 or 70 with low gain in there. And then the force is about 60, the general force. The spring doesn't matter, it's 100, but it's not, it doesn't take it into account. The damper is 100, and the natural damper is 50. Now you can play with this. I want my wheel to have some damping. You can see that it stays like that. It doesn't turn around freely. Now, if you lower this down a lot, then you see it's much less. I don't like this feeling, but if you like it better, you can put it to something like 15 or 20, and it's pretty nice. 50 is probably too much for you. I like it this way, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I would do something like 40 or 30. I think it's better, you know. Okay, this is natural damping on the Fanatec, and then natural friction is off. Natural friction is completely off. I don't use that because then it's not good. I think so. Natural friction is completely off. Everything else is either 100 or we just don't, we don't care about. So that's it. All right. Uh, yes, what I, especially for the Thrustmaster wheels, it seems that Thrustmaster wheels have some issues with when the signal has lots of noise. So you don't have just the force, but you also have the bumps of the road, you have the damping, you have everything all together. At least this is my experience. So for the Thrustmaster wheels, I would recommend a very low dynamic damping, something like 30, 20, 10, I don't know, and as low as possible rod effects. I mean, on some consumer wheels, some rod effects is not bad. It gives you a little bit of movement. But if you overdo it, and by overdoing I mean if you go over 30, then uh, in the electronics of the wheel it gets too much noise of things, movement, because rod effect, what it does is it gets the bumps of the road and the noise of the asphalt that we have from the laser scan, and amplifies it. So if you have something like this, the rod effect will make it like this. So it's the same bump, but it gets amplified for the steering wheel. Now, some wheels, even if they are consumer and have low power motors, their electronics can get this amplification and make feel the proper feel for you, the proper feedback. Uh, some other wheels, uh, they get the amplification, and instead of giving you extra, they flatten, they go and saturate everything, and you don't feel anything at all. So uh, keep it low. The road effects, if you have a consumer wheel, keep it low. If you have a direct drive, you just don't need it. The direct drive, makes you feel everything, so just put it zero, and that's it. The frequency, the higher it is, the better it is, of course. But obviously, if your system, your hardware is low, then you might want to do some compromise and lower this down. But of course, 333 is on par with the physics engine, very high frequency refresh rate for the steering wheel, the best you can do. Minimum force, some wheels have some force feedback dead zone at the center. Like, for example, the Logitech is the perfect example. Pretty much all the Logitech wheels have some force feedback dead zone. This dead zone is around 5 degrees from one part and 5 degrees from the other part. There, you don't feel practically nothing in that. Okay, if you raise this for the Logitech up to 10, 12%, then it eliminates that force feedback force. If you do so in other wheels that they don't have this dead zone at the center, then you will get your steering wheel that it is um, twitchy at the center. So it won't go fluid from left to right, but it will go like clack, clack, clack. You will feel very high forces going from zero to something and zero to something else. All right. So for all the other wheels, I would recommend zero. This for Logitech wheels, something like 12 or even 14, something around that measure. Okay. And tiny gain on the JSON file is nothing. Don't touch it. And it doesn't change anything, I think. Uh, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Next session, telemetry analysis. Yes, especially if I'm sober, and I manage to drive, that would be much better. All right. Tortellini feels very good with with dynamic damping for consumer wool. Great, very nice to hear that. We really think that natural damping is the correct way to go, because it is not an effect; it is practically the gyroscopic effect of the wheels. So the wheels rotate very fast. You know that when you have a wheel rotating, for example, from your bicycle, then it kinda wants to stay on whatever angle you place it. So it rotates very fast. You place it at a straight line, it wants to remain there. Now, whatever movement you try to do, you want to rotate it left or right, it will, because of the gyroscopic effect, the very fast rotation, it will try to resist the rotation. Uh, so it will try to remain straight, and this is either if you're going straight, or even if you're going, side. If you're turning, the wheel is rotated by some degrees, okay, but it still also rotates very fast forward. So it doesn't want to move so easily towards more at the right or less at the left, for example. Okay, so this gives on the steering wheel some sort of damping. It doesn't want to go back or forth very naturally. It wants to slightly maintain where it goes. Now, obviously, the forces when you're turning wants to turn the steering wheel back, and if you're also going into oversteer, even more, and so on. But with dynamic damping, you do feel a tiny bit of resistance when you're trying to rotate the wheel left or right, and it is a physics effect. It's not just uh, some kind of extra effect that is not realistic. Uh, Hello, Stevie Paysith. Yeah, Smith. Welcome. We are practically at the end uh, of uh, the stream. We're just doing some questions and answers, but glad that you joined us, and probably you can get some extra stuff next day. All right. So, other questions? Anything, guys? If you have any questions, I will be here for another 5-10 minutes. Lexus setup tips. Pay Toyota for the information. That would be great. Yes, yes. Dear God, yeah. They're so closed. Yeah. Lexus setup tips. It's a car that likes rake, so low front end, high rear end. Uh, it's a little bit of a strange car because it is fast. There are some tracks that it can practically dominate, and then on some other tracks it just doesn't you know deliver properly. Uh, but what I can tell you about the Lexus, I think it creates a lot of downforce from the diffuser and the splitter, so you could use less rear wing and have higher top speed without losing too much downforce. Just play with the rake properly, and it should work. All right. Okay. So yeah, I think you have a yeah. Alex has a question. Why we have made such a perfect sim so they cannot drive anything else? Um, because world domination. World domination. Uh, Camilo asks if I can go over the characteristic of each car. It's gonna be a long, long discussion. So it won't be easy to do this tonight. But we do have some of them, or not all of them, on the dev blog on the forums. You can check it. Where do I buy my shirts? This one is Final Gear. Some other ones were on what was it? Red Bubble, I think, something like that. I don't know. It's time of just searching here. There. Maybe I should do my own. Das. More setup presets. No, I don't think I can do this. I don't have the time. I mean, it's difficult. How can I use info? Info of what? Wheel spin always the same way. I don't get it, Amato. I don't know if you want to write it in Italian. I can read it. Were the faces of public taken from Kuno's team? Maybe. Not sure, honestly, but I've seen some strange, uh, you know, faces looking quite a bit like us. Visual aids on the wall, like orange wall, exist in real track or on the no. Anything, everything you see on the tracks is exactly as it is, or at least as close as it is on in real life. Obviously, keep in mind we're talking about the specific year. So Bathurst is for 2019, not this year 2020. We did the whole laser scan and everything in 2019. Same for the other tracks, 2018, 2018. So everything you see is how the tracks are in real life, and that is why also real drivers use simulators, especially those that have laser scan tracks, to train for the tracks because they can find the correct reference points. If they feel a bump into a specific point of a circuit, they know they will find that bump on the real track and so on. Yes, I'm not saying that to just talk good things about our simulator, but modern simulators, even although they are sold as games, I believe they are at a very, very, very high level of fidelity. Very high level of fidelity. Some years ago, uh, real drivers and engineers and team managers would laugh at us when we were going to ask information. Nowadays, not all of them, but many of them either understand the value or even come and search for us and ask for help with their training and way to use the simulator and so on. So yeah, we're moving ahead. Did I have time to experiment with road tires? No, not yet, not really. Honestly, no, I haven't experimented with road tires. There's a very serious Lord Gunus everywhere in the crowds. Lord Gunus is everywhere. Yes, I knew that this track is public road with very strict speed limits, right? Which is such a shame. Still don't get exactly what you're talking about, Turamato. Sorry about that. I will need some more explanations and context for your question. What will be the next big update for ACC? I don't know. Should we talk about the DAS? Do you want guys to know my opinion on the Formula One Mercedes DAS system? If you want, I can tell you. Let's have some water here. Right, so the DAS system. In my very, very humble opinion, okay, very, very humble opinion. I'm not saying I know anything, and certainly I'm not saying I understand. The modern Formula One cars are so advanced in terms of aerodynamics that it's very difficult to understand what's going on. Well, first of all, it is legal. It's not according to the how to say. Uh, it's not according to the idea of the regulations. Okay, it is against it, but uh, there is no anything in the regulations that say that you couldn't do that, because the regulations say that you need to have a steering wheel that controls from the driver the angle of the front wheels. Okay, nowhere in the regulation you have any line saying that uh, you have to control the front steering wheels symmetrically at the same. I mean, at the same. Well, when you are moving your steering wheel, the front wheels have to steer at the same point, left and right. There's no line about that. It just says you have a steering wheel, you move it, and again, it doesn't say in what axis you can move it. Okay, uh, and by moving it, you control the angle of the front wheels, but it doesn't say in what kind of angle you control. So obviously, we know that the intent of the regulation was what we all know. You move your steering wheel left, right, and your front wheels turn to the left. That's the intent of the regulation. But there is nothing in the regulation that says that you cannot move your steering wheel in a different axis, in that situation back and forth, and there's nothing to limit how the front wheels turn. So it doesn't tell you that they have to turn at the same side. So they can also turn one left and one right, or one right and one left. Okay, it's up to you. So legally, uh, the DAS system is completely valid. It's completely legal. Okay, they were very smart to think about it. It's completely legal. Now, the FIA could have said, that's not the intent of the regulation, so you have to abandon this, and it's not permitted anymore. Uh, but they cannot do this anymore, except if there are very specific safety reasons. Okay, they cannot do this anymore because the teams decided that if there is such a situation, they have to vote all together and take the decision. How do you spell it? All together, all together. So you can't have just one guy saying no, I agree with it, and all the others saying I do not agree. They all have to agree, or vice versa. They all have to agree to ban it, or they cannot ban it. So because obviously Mercedes does not agree to ban it, and probably even Racing Point, I don't know. Uh, so they don't have a unanimous agreement to ban the new feature. And so the FIA was forced to say, okay, you cannot ban it for this year. Next year, I will change the regulations to be more precise on what a steering wheel can do. And so the system will be banned from 2021. So there is no, uh, I mean, Mercedes has been just very smart to implement this, and they took the risk to implement this, uh, but they are not illegal. Okay, that's the thing. Now, does changing the toe in and toe out of the front wheels is so important for the handling? This is where I disagree with all the um, analysis that I have read in various websites and in various magazines and all those journalists. Now, everybody says yes, with the different toe in and toe out, you can be more or less stable under braking, and then more turn in and stuff like that that we all know. But I have a different idea which goes even farther. Now, first of all, you all know that when we are talking about toe in and toe out, uh, we are talking about some millimeters, right? It's just some millimeters, so it's not big deal. On the contrary, on the Mercedes, we saw that when they were pulling in and out the steering wheel, the front wheels were visibly going in toe out and toe in again. The difference were visible by naked eye on a monitor, on a small video on YouTube. So it was very visible, which means that there was a very, very important difference in toe. Now, why is that? This is where my whole theory starts. Now, if you saw, uh, since last year, Mercedes has implemented a very, very different front suspension with very, very high arms. Now, why is that? Because those high arms create lots of empty space underneath the front suspension, and that means they have more space to get the airflow, move it underneath the front suspension, make it flow better, and go back to the side boards and to the diffuser or the rear wing. And we do know that the front wing, the front wing, and how the airflow moves from the front wing to the side boards is one of the most important parts of the aerodynamic design of the modern Formula One cars. So obviously having the front suspension so high gives them and their design many aerodynamic advantages. Now obviously having the front arms so high doesn't mean that they give them mechanical grip advantages. Probably their suspension has issues in terms of geometry because it's not natural. You have the arms completely up there, and we know that's not so easy to control. Um, so, what that means? Uh, by the way, the 2020 car has an even wider, an even higher and more extreme design of the front suspension. So even more difficult, probably to control the geometry of the front suspension. Okay. So, do you remember, guys, my live stream about Toyin and Ackerman geometry? If you don't, I encourage you to go back into that video and check the toe-in and how toe-out helps with Ackerman steering geometry. So one suspicion could be that they wanted to create more aerodynamic flow underneath the suspension, so they moved the suspension way higher, but the suspension geometry gives a very bad steering Ackerman geometry, so the front wheels do not steer properly. Maybe, I don't know, it's a theory. How do you fix that? You fix that with very big values of toe out. Okay, because remember, toe out makes the inner wheel turn more and the outer wheel turn less, and that helps you with Ackerman. So you might need very high values of toe out to make the front of the car having proper mechanical grip. But we also know that very big values of toe out means lots of drag and lots of temperature and heat raising on the front wheels, and probably blistering or graining, all that bad issues that you have from a tire that instead of going straight in direction, it goes in a pretty big angle during straight line. So what they do is that they pull the steering wheel back and they move into completely zero toe at the straights with all the benefits. And when they are at the braking zone, they go in and they open a lot in negative toe out the front steering wheels, which helps them very much with the Ackerman geometry of the steering geometry. Um, so again, what's the situation here? It's not just the geometry. It's that they have designed the front suspension in a way to help them a lot with the aerodynamic flow, which is a big help for going faster. But to do so, they had issues, and those issues are solved with extreme toe values, and they solve the extreme toe values at the straight with an extra axis on the steering wheel with the so-called DAS system. That's my idea. And that's why I think that even if the other teams implement the DAS system, they won't really gain a lot, because you don't gain a lot from some millimeters of toe in or toe out. You gain a lot if you have designed the whole car to have this kind of geometry. This kind of geometry unfortunately gives you disadvantages that you solve then with the DAS system. That's my idea. Is it possible to calibrate the clutch pedal as a brake? I guess so. Yes. I think it works. Let me see. Let me go to the options. So controls. Right. So I eliminate the clutch. I eliminate the brake. I go to the brake and say, this is my brake now. It works properly. I have obviously to invert it like this. Back again. Oops. And I locked everything. Why it doesn't work anymore? Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. Why? Let me see. Throttle and brake. Okay. Probably some small. Okay, let's go back. It should work. Yeah, it works. It works. Brakes. It also gives me the clutch here. Let me go back and see what we did. Options, controls. Clutch is 0. So why it doesn't work? That's a little bit strange, right?
No time, caution, stay clear of the curbs.
Yeah, it also gives me the clutch. I don't know why. That's some kind of bug. I will investigate. That's the first time I see this. Good catch. I will investigate this. I don't know why it does. Well, it's a bug, obviously. Okay, so brake and clutch. Let's see if I do the opposite. So let's see if I give brake here and clutch here. Obviously, I have to make it inverted and inverted, and then possibly go out and see. Okay, yeah, that seems to work better. So you need to give it also the brake as clutch. Now, obviously, if your braking doesn't work, then maybe you need to, tell that's maybe it doesn't work. You need to tell that you don't have a clutch, so the clutch is automatic. Otherwise, obviously, it won't work. Let's see this again. So clutch nothing, but then you have to go and tell it that the clutch is automatic. Okay. All right. Always give it some minimum here, and on the brakes too, always a tiny bit of dead zone, just to be sure that you don't have issues. Okay. All right. All right. What do you? I mean, Kevin Law says, will you be working on multiplayer improvements? Many people will stuck with iRacing because they think ACCA multiplayer needs work. Well, maybe. Well, first of all, iRacing costs whatever, and ACC costs 45 or 30 when on sale, and that's it for life. And then you have to tell me what do you mean by multiplayer improvements, because from what I see on the various leagues, the multiplayer code seems very solid and very good. Now, what do you mean? Do you mean how people behave on the public lobbies? This is not something we can do. This is on the people to learn to, drive properly, and you will find strange people pretty much everywhere, even on iRacing on the low levels. Mm. Again, we offer a different service, very low price, while iRacing offers a subscription. Again, low price for what it offers on the subscription, but it is a subscription that you have to keep paying. So multiplayer improvements doesn't really uh, means a lot. We offer a different service, that's for sure. To offer a similar service to iRacing, we would have to charge, and this is not our business model, at least not right now. So I don't know about the Stereo Sports yet. I know that they're probably working, talking about it, but I don't have other infos personally. I'm sure that as soon as they decide, we will learn it. Everybody from all the official channels. We honestly, guys, even Assetto Corsa 3 will be a racing killer and so on. We are not trying to do an iRacing killer. We are trying to do Assetto Corsa. It's a different business model. It's a different way of doing things. Our only uh, common thing is, trying to be as realistic as possible, both of us. Each with its own advantages and disadvantages, but that's the only common thing that we have. It's realism. It's simulation. The business model, multiplayer, subscription or not, is completely different. We're doing something different. Um, I think they are number one on what they do, and I think we are a pretty good place on what we are doing. So we are not trying to do a killer of anything. We're just trying to do the best project we can do for the way we like to offer things to the people and for what we are capable of doing. Convert more people to play the game. Well, Assetto Corsa Competizione is not even 1 year old yet, and all the other sims right now are many years old, if not a decade old. So there's a big difference there. I still remember, and here goes a little bit of a rant, that everybody during the summer we had the usual trolls, because they are trolls and they are unfortunately idiots and ignorance. I will not say that they're idiots like but they have an idiotic way of thinking about sims and community. I remember all of them coming into the forums, all of them, those guys coming into the forums and saying, "Oh, competizione is dead. It's dead. Look at the users playing competizione, and that sim is better than you, and that sim is better than you, and competizione is already dead." What do you have to say now? You don't speak anymore about who sims is dead. I mean, what happened to the sim that was up instead of us, that was higher than us in terms of users? Is that sim dead now on your point of view? Of course not in my point of view, but as you think about it, it's probably dead for you now. I guess not. So unfortunately, every time a new title arrives in the market, you get those people that they just hate change, hate novelty, and they will do whatever they can to convince other people to play just their game for whatever reason. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but it is the way it is. So luckily, all you guys that you are following me are fine guys. Really enjoying talking with you, and we can discuss those things nicely. And you support me even when I'm ranting like this right now. I mean, yeah, trolls will be trolls. You're absolutely right, Kevin Blanchett. But some of those guys, they're not even trolls. I mean, they're sim racers. They're not there just to troll, but they just don't, think logically. They just hate change and they hate anything new, and they will just join the wave and try to convince people for whatever ideas they have in that time of uh, of the year or whatever. Now, minimum force, Axel Petit says if minimum force is also for little strength. No, it's just for the center dead zone. Just that. Center dead zone. The higher it is, the less center dead zone of force feedback. Not dead zone of movement, dead zone of force feedback. Okay? And practically now only Logitech wheels have it. Too long didn't want rants would be a good new playlist. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. How do you determine which split your competition race is in? I don't know. This is a question for Kevin Minolin. Hmm. To be fair, when it was launched, Metalhead says, to be fair, when it was launched, there was a lot of work to be done. That work is being done and has been done, and it is now a great game. Absolutely right. Absolutely. No, 100% correct, and I agree with you. Um, to be fair, also, I think Assetto Corsa Competizione was already in a very good shape around July, August with 1.1, but people were not experiencing it yet properly, or didn't understood it, or they were still on that, not so good. They didn't have good feelings or proper feelings uh, about the game. I won't insist on that. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, with version 1.2, we started seeing the big improvements and big change uh, in uh, in uh, in the perception of the sim racers. But I do believe that from July, August, the game was already was starting to mature. But you're right. I mean, all those things need time for the game to mature and for the sim racers to start enjoying, the game, understand it, realize that it's getting better. So more people, joining the races multiplayer, more people talking about it, more people making videos about it. Now the avalanche has started and it's getting better and better. But you're completely correct. It was a title that needed much work. It's a very complicated title, and it's like Formula One cars. You know that your old car is already very fast, but you do develop a new car because you know that even if at the first races you might not be as fast as you like, you have much more potential to find while you're working with the car during the season. So a new title is like this. It starts, uh, it's very complicated. You need to make it stable. You need to make it work. You have many of features that you are having into your mind or you have already implemented, but they don't work properly. You need to work into that because you know that when everything's going to be ready and correct, it's going to be worth it. Yeah. Next project I would like to work on. I would like to keep working on Competizione for a little bit. I'm not fed up with it yet. I like it. Andrew Noble says, I'm 55 and I love the sim. I'm almost 50 and I made the sim. I had to say it. No, I'm 47, but yeah, I'm getting close. I had to say this. Uh, No, no worries, guys. No, no problem hijacking. That's why we do this. I mean, it's nice to see you talking about it, because I have Leonard Bierman says, "Sorry, Aris, for hijacking." no problem at all. I enjoy, talking with you, chatting, seeing how the chat evolves. And as you saw tonight, I wasn't really capable of, properly driving. So we did what we could do, and now it's free time. How to drive Porsches? I can do a lap for you with the Porsche if you want, just for the fun of it. You drive Porsches by working hard with the steering wheel and everything. So let's get this one. This is the old one, I think. Yeah, well, whatever. Let's get this one. Let's do just some hot stint and do a couple of laps. Not, I won't change anything. Just normal setup.
Right, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it over the limit.
Okay, so just aggressive setup. And this is how you drive the Porsche. Oh, that's the old one. Even worse. Or better. Yeah, I want a beer. So Porsche has a lot of rear weight, which means that if you remember on how this influences the handle of the car, it means that under braking, the rear end wants to overtake you and turn around, and under acceleration, it wants to sit down and push you straight. So how you work on this? You work hard because you need to rotate the car into the entry just the correct amount, and then keep that rotation to the exit. And you have to be ready to counter steer, as you saw, when you are turning the car in. So let me understand where I have to. Ooh, you see? If you raise your foot too much, it gets very tricky. It's gonna be very difficult. Whoops. That's better. Yeah, Porsche is for real, man. I mean, even if you check this car on real videos on YouTube, the real car, you will see the drivers working a lot with the steering wheel. There's no different way to do it. You have to work a lot. You have to be ready. You have to be proactive, as we said. Come on, man. See how it wants to go straight if I don't rotate it properly at the apex. But of course, if you try to rotate it too much at the apex, then it will probably bite you and go into a big drift angle. See, you have to work. There's no other way around it. You really have to work. You see, like that. See how much work I have to do in comparison to the Aston that we had before. Whoa! And if you do it bad, this is what happens. That was like jump, woohoo, and you're dead. Yes, if you do it correctly, it's very rewarding. I mean, it feels like you you know you are driving. It's not the car that drives you around.
Alright, this session is
It's
about
you
consistency. Try to be fast,
fighting the
but don't push it
car,
too much over the limit.
and the car has to, respect you. The the Porsche every day. I mean, every time you drive it, tells you, you know what, you either know what you're doing or you don't deserve my respect. That's how the Porsche, works. And also another thing that is problematic with the Porsche is that it wants usually very specific setup for its track. So it's even more difficult to find the correct window of operations. Very, very narrow in its operation window. And for every setup, you have to work harder to find the perfect setup for your style, for the car, especially for the car. I mean, this is a car that it will never suit your style. It's your style that has to suit the car. It's super competitive, yeah, but you have to, especially the new one. It's very good, but you really have to fight it. Minoli is crying. Jun Jun says Jun June. Right, says Porsche has crazy braking and crazy low speed acceleration. I will tell you a very nice anecdote from the development of Assetto Corsa Competizione. So I don't remember if we were at Monza or uh, where were we? Zolder, maybe? I don't remember, but somewhere at the start uh, of of the 2019 season, and I think it was Marcello. Yes, I think it was Marcello, Raffaello Marcello, and he's for the guys that don't know, he's a 2018 champion and Mercedes driver. And so we brought the title to him to try and give us some feedback. And he was driving, and he said, "Oh, put me with some AI. I want to try and see." So set a small quick race, some cars in it. So he was driving. One of the things that it's instantly very satisfying, but also very interesting to see that if you give those guys some good physics to drive, they will instantly attack. They are not like, oh, let me feel the car, let me feel the fit. No, no, they were like, okay, now I'm driving. Oh, they are like full attack mode instantly. That was always so satisfying to watch. So he was driving around, and at some point he finds himself behind a Porsche, right? So there was a low speed gear turn. He positions his car, rotates at the beat, gets the perfect exit, hammers the accelerator, goes out, and the person in front of him goes like boom, just getting away in acceleration. And he's like, "Oh, come on, guys! You do the same thing as in reality. Those damn Porsches always go away from me in the acceleration. How do you do this? Oh!" And he was like crazy about this. And we were like, "Haha, we're into something here." That was so satisfying to listen and watch. All right. Okay, guys. All right. I think it's time to call it a day. It's late. Thank you so much for staying in with me, and I hope you've enjoyed this a little bit strange stream tonight. It wasn't so good. But I hope you had some fun, and hopefully next time it will be much much better. Okay. All right. I think that's enough for tonight. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, subscribe, Thanks for the support. What can I say? See you next time, which I don't know exactly when it will be, but I think it will be sooner than usually because I have to practice more for the next race. All right. All right. Cheers. Goodbye.